Good evening. This is the March 11th, 2015 meeting of the Auburn Conservation Commission. This meeting is being broadcast live and is being recorded for later rebroadcast. Our meetings may be viewed online at auburnguide.com. I have to ask if anyone else is making a live recording of this meeting. If that is not the case, the first item on tonight's agenda is a public hearing on the notice of intent filed on behalf of a Kelly Dunleavy for property located at 394 Rochdale Street here in Auburn. Is there a motion to open?
So moved. I'll second that.
Okay, any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Please join us.
Good evening. My name is Steve Sears, and I'm here on behalf of Kelly Dunleavy, who is representing her mother's estate, Shimolinas is the last name. 394 Rochdale Street here in Auburn. Green cards?
Yes, please. Thank you.
And because Google Maps is notoriously unreliable, could we have some assistance locating it on
sure.
the map? Let's see.
Actually,
394. Is that what
Yes.
number you're at?
Let's see if I don't know.
I believe that's,
Oh, okay.
it, isn't it? Oh, I'm sorry. You're moving.
Let's see if the backing out gives you a better. Alright, so we got Crown Hill Road.
Yeah. I think we're back. I actually think that's it right there.
Okay, so sometimes it is accurate.
Yes. I
Okay,
believe
wow.
That's it. Yeah, there's the shed there, okay.
Bang on tonight.
Actually, I'll just point out before I go back to my plan,
That's as much as
we're designing the system, actually, it's right opposite the front of the house, right in this area, up towards the street, because of the wetlands. You have your
Google Maps.
DEP number, file number?
Yes, we do.
Okay.
Yep.
I have a
Yeah,
copy
email
of
it
that.
to me. They email it
Okay.
to me. Thank you.
Just set this down.
Thank you for picking that up.
Okay. We're here tonight on behalf of a failing septic system in the backyard. Presently, the system right now is approximately 50 feet from the bordering vegetated wetlands. And our new design shows the system 100 feet away. But we're here because some of the fill and grading is in the buffer zone. And you can see this little portion that's done in brown. That's kind of the grading that's going to go along with this new septic system. Existing house, actually the tank is in the back and the system's in the back presently. And right now it's in the groundwater table.
Okay.
We've designed this new system with a tank and the leach field, obviously above the groundwater table, 4 foot above. We're not even, we're not asking for that variance because we're within 100 feet of their private well out front. The bordering vegetated wetlands was delineated prior to any snow. Just want
That's good.
to point that out before the blizzard and all that. We had bare ground when I delineated that on January 13th and 14th, so.
They did a double take when I saw those photos. I'm like, wait a second.
Yeah.
No, it was just before we got
Yeah, it
the
was.
beginning of all of it.
I actually made a note on the plan just for that, because a lot of people say, well, you can't, how are you gonna flag all that in the winter, but it was before. And again, this shows the 200-foot offset from the riverfront, which we're not in. No work will be done in that. Again, the only work that's gonna be involved in this upgrade, which is just fixing the system, not even, there's no increase in flow or change of use, is just this little portion of grading, which we can't avoid. And that's why we're here tonight. Basically, right now, this is a lot of scrub brush and undergrowth. There's a lot of wide open area in here. Some of this is lawn. And then That's all. This is the bordering vegetative wetlands, all wooded wetlands. It was determined by, obviously, vegetation and hydric soil. So. Just to point out, I've been with Dave Ross since 1971, and I have a list of credentials if folks want them.
Is the house currently occupied?
No,
Okay,
unfortunately, she passed away.
right, I understand now. And what indicia do you have that the system was failing? I mean, is it a,
We have a failing Title V report.
okay,
Yeah, that was
So.
because they're getting ready to
sell the property?
put the house on the market, and
Right,
and it failed. That's why I'm involved.
okay, obviously.
Yeah, otherwise they would have unloaded it. But, and we actually did testing in the backyard. Our first thought was, well, let's put it back in the same place, even though we're gonna be within the 100-foot buffer, but the soil was terrible back there, high groundwater, and we're actually able to test up front, closer to the street, away from the wetlands, and avoid a pump. So rather than go with a pump system, we went gravity flow, we raised the plumbing here, and then keep the majority of everything right out of the 100-foot buffer, again, just a little bit of fill and grade, which would be loomed and seeded afterwards. So.
Right.
And that's about it. I mean, it's nothing fancy about the plan or anything, it's just a straightforward upgrade for the failing system.
Sure. When will construction begin?
That, I don't know yet, obviously, probably when the weather turns
When the
good.
snow
Yeah, do you have any,
melts?
I spoke to the gentleman that's gonna be putting the system in, he's got 2 ahead once snow melts. So I'm looking at probably April, May.
Okay. Okay.
in the notice of intent, there are in the attachment A, I think, before I speak, you double check that. I believe I listed the vegetation, yeah. The soil borings that I did and list of vegetation. Oh yeah, natural, NISA was informed, I don't know if you've got a response from NISA, from the Natural Heritage. We sent that to them because this whole area right in here is zoned.
Okay.
Somebody must have found something somewhere down the line and it showed up on the map, so
Yeah.
we did send a Natural Heritage, but I have not heard back from them.
Okay.
That's also included in the notice of intent, the NISA project review checklist, and the fee was sent to them, so they're basically for an upgrade, they have no qualms, they just want to make sure that everything's done properly. That's about it.
Do you have an approved septic system?
I talked to Darlene on Friday, and I told her about tonight's meeting, and she said she hasn't quite finished her review yet, but she was gonna try to get something for me before today, and she didn't. I didn't get any emails from her, so. She's probably gonna, but she has it, and
Okay.
she's reviewing it. So no, we do not have approval from Board of Health yet.
My only request would be that, assuming you get approval, and I'm sure you will, that we just get CC'd on that.
Oh, definitely.
Okay.
And I'm not sure if Auburn, the Board of Health has a meeting, or if they just approved the plan, or what she does, but if we do, we'll certainly give you all the correspondence on that too.
Very good. Okay. All right. Does the board have any questions? Okay. Are there any questions from the audience?
These are the clients.
I
Not
understand.
not an audience
This
tonight.
evening, I have to go through
I
the
understand.
ritual. That so being, if there's no further discussion, is there a motion to close?
I'll move to close.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's a vote.
Okay.
All right, thank you.
Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
You too. meet you, by
Nice
the
to
way.
meet
I've
you,
talked to
too.
you so much on the phone. Will you send out the order of conditions sometime
Do
in
you
the
want it
future?
sent directly to you?
It can go actually directly to Kelly, sure, her
Okay.
address is right on there.
All right,
Yep,
okay.
that's fine.
I'll write that down here.
And as soon as I get something from
And
the
I'll
Board of
send-
Health,
I'll email you a copy of
okay.
it.
Then, yes,
Okay?
thank you very
And the
much.
Board of Health's right in my same office, so
Yes.
I'm sure I'll hear about it.
Thank you very
Yeah,
much.
like I said, I spoke to her Friday, this week,
Yeah,
Friday.
You got a
Yeah.
plethora of stuff there. I need to get a book.
okay.
What's that?
I have a plethora of stuff. I need to get a book.
Thanks again for your time.
All right, thank you.
Okay,
you.
very good. Good night.
Right on time. Really, you're right on time.
Want me to set up or?
Sure, please.
Good evening.
How are you?
Good, how are you?
Great.
I just wanted to say I had heard from Joanna Paquin today. She said that she just got the plans to review last week, and they are not done reviewing yet.
Okay.
Just
We expect we file concurrently with planning board and conservation, so we're figured we present the project tonight, request a continuance, so that if they're, make sure that the storm, while the planning board review goes, they can review
Yeah,
the
I think-
stormwater.
I
If
mean-
there's any changes, we can,
We're not on the record yet, but I will probably want to take another look anyway at the property.
okay.
Okay, so we have a couple minutes before we can call the meeting to order.
hello, hello.
We can do the minutes. I know it's Sheila's silent.
Dan's here.
Are you sure?
I am.
No, Dan has to
It's
recuse
only one
himself
page,
because he
though.
was not present.
Ah,
Whew,
So-
another reprieve.
So Sheila,
On
you
the
caught a break.
25th,
One
yes,
piece, one side.
yes, right.
That's right.
that's the shortest.
Good.
Yeah,
Wow.
yeah, that was a
Wow.
short
I did
meeting.
have that.
Mm.
Did you already review the February 11th ones? Were those already taken care of?
Yeah.
We
Yep.
did.
Okay.
They're
All right.
gone.
Yes, we did. And your absence was missed.
Yes.
A
Aw.
little bit. Don't let it go.
Slightly, only
Speak
Speak for
slightly.
yourself.
Oh, don't be a knucklehead. Snap.
Just with the minutes, Dan, that's all.
So anyway, I do have a couple of revisions.
Okay,
You ready?
I am.
Okay. If you look down where it starts with my name, we're talking about Margaret Washburn.
Yes,
Okay. I think the way it should read is Margaret Washburn will not be assisting on any further wetland determinations.
okay.
And then the last sentence in that paragraph, it says, an email was sent to Joseph Simon and Glenn Kravosky to delay, and I put in a meeting until April. Because we don't know when they're gonna file a new notice of intent.
Okay,
So that whole
okay.
phrase should be crossed out. For 34 Mill Street, second line, it says site. It should, I think, read site by the beginning of April. You just wrote by April, it's by the beginning of April. You see that?
Okay, okay, clean up by the beginning.
Of April.
Okay,
Under Forest Park,
yeah,
second line, it says explain to them, instead of the disposal of, I crossed that out and put in that, the word that.
that, the disposal?
No,
No?
the disposal of should be crossed out.
Okay,
And in place of that, put in the word that.
explain to them.
That yard waste is not to be put in
Oh,
the swale
okay,
area.
all right,
Okay? And then finally, under enforcement orders, under Route 1220, second line, beginning with the word time.
Yeah.
I put in time, the lifting of the enforcement order will be considered.
Yep.
Okay, and that's all I have.
Okay.
Precision is important.
Yes.
You don't escape entirely when I'm not here.
I guess not. He usually emails them to me. I make them before the meeting.
I didn't have
He
time
was
this
too
week.
busy.
That's right.
He brought the heat lamp.
Does anyone have any further changes?
Through the chair, can I make a motion?
Please.
I make a motion to accept the meeting's minutes of February 25th, 2015 as amended.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? Abstentions?
Abstain.
Okay, it's a vote. All right.
Thank you.
And the next matter on our agenda is a 7:15 public hearing. Notice of intent for David Pappas, proposed project at 129 West Street in Auburn. Is there a motion to open?
That motion open.
Is there a second?
I'll second.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Okay.
Just for the
Morrison.
record, Scott Morrison from Ecotech here with David Pappas and the property owner, and Chris McClure, the project engineer. As you recall, back last year, we had filed an ANRAD on the site, got the wetland boundaries approved, just to kind of bring people back to kind of get a sense of the project area. We've got West Street, which is right here. The Mass Turnpike is to the south of the site. The CSX Railway is to the north of the site, and the Century Sportsman's Club is to the west of the property. There's an existing barn on the property, approximately here. Portions of the frontage here have been kind of graded and, it's kind of a construction site historically. What we're proposing is a cul-de-sac with 5 single-family homes, lots 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. There's a detention basin proposed in here. Kind of the layout is driven by the lot. We've tried to pull it as far away from the wetland as possible to get the roadway in, putting houses both here and up here in this upland. We're proposing, there's kind of an upland island we need to access. We're proposing driveways. This driveway here utilizes an existing cart path that goes through. The driveway over here, we're proposing to keep it in a narrow spot on that lot. We're required to, planning board requires that you have separate driveways that access each individual lot from the access on that lot. So we're required to have 2 driveways. Work within the buffer zone. I've got a detail in more detail on these other plans, but consists again of a portion of this single-family house lot here. Actually, let me step back and just, wetland resource areas are highlighted in this green color. So we've got wetland resource here, buffer zone here, wetland comes up through here, and then up through this narrow point here, large wetland system here, and then intermittent stream that flows down a pond here. So as you can see, this is upland island here, and a substantial portion of developable upland in the back portions, but there's no proposal to do any work on those 2 areas. I've got details showing, because we're actually crossing wetlands, we need to request waivers. We need a waiver for the construction of the detention pond. The detention pond is really driven by the fact that we've tried to pull the road as far up, as tight as we can possibly get it to this lot line here, but also it needs to be in a low spot where it can drain. So that's what drives the location of that. Portions of that are within the 25-foot buffer zone, so we're seeking a waiver for that. Essentially, we've tried to keep a minimum of a 25-foot buffer on the front portion of the site where you've got altered buffer zone, and we've tried, with the exception of the driveways, we've maintained a 50-foot buffer zone where you've got wooded areas out back here, and obviously we don't have any construction activities occurring back through here. So again, we need a waiver for detention basin and the proposed crossings. I've colored up give you some more details, colored up the portion, the work within the 100-foot buffer zone. As you can see here, we've got a single-family house proposed, and this area highlighted here in green would be proposed lawn associated with the buffer zone of this wetland here. Wetland here, highlighted in green. Again, we've got the detention basin located at the low point. We pulled the road as close to these property lines as we can possibly get it, and we're proposing detention pond in this area here. There's an existing kind of a swale and discharge at that location anyway. A couple cart paths, there's one that cuts through here and one that runs alongside that wetland boundary. So we're trying to use areas that have been previously disturbed. In the back here, we've also got a portion of this house, some lawn, and the driveway to access that single-family house there. And then on the next sheet, I've got the details for the crossings. Surprised it didn't hit me in the face. So again, wetland resource areas here. This is the cul-de-sac. So we've got this upland island here. Driveway that goes out, crosses wetlands here to access a house which is proposed. The only small corner of the house here is within the 100-foot buffer zone. Again, we've only got a corner of the house here. We've tried to keep things into the center of that island to try and, as you can see, the area shaded is the portion of the buffer zone. This remaining area is outside conservation jurisdiction. We've got a proposed wetland replication area. I believe we've got 3,150 square feet of wetland fill and 4,800 square feet of wetland replication. There's a detailed wetland replication protocol in the package. And again, we've got erosion control barriers consisting of double-staked hay bales and properly entrenched silt fence around the perimeter of the project during construction until the site's completely stabilized. And then again, this section is again, here's the cul-de-sac here. So we've got a portion of the house, driveway, and some grading within the 100-foot buffer zone. But all in all, we've tried to see if we can minimize any work in the buffer zone. But again, we require a couple crossings, and due to the property lines and site grading, we need to request some waivers, especially for the detention basin.
What about fill? You're gonna have to bring fill into this project, or is there enough material on site to?
That's a good question.
enough on
I
site.
think there's enough on site.
So you'll just move stuff around?
There's enough, yeah, it's a lot, it's all gravel based.
Okay.
Yeah, just to give you kind of a sense, if we go back. There's quite a bit of fill here that they can pull out to level this, to install, to build these homes, and that material can be used to do some fill work for the road and the structure. So there shouldn't be a lot of material that either comes off-site or on-site. It's pretty much found on-site. And I think this material here is probably a nice, decent gravel
Yeah,
material.
it's nice.
So
nice
it can be
gravel, nice
probably
gravel.
processed and used on-site, I would imagine.
Okay.
And again, just for the record, we filed with planning board. We've got a planning board meeting later this month, and I think you had indicated you'd like to take a walk on the site. We're certainly willing to do that. Continue it, and then the planning board will presumably review the drainage calcs, ensure that it complies with the stormwater management standards. So everything's reviewed, and the plans will be identical.
Right.
I just want to say the planning board is meeting until the 31st because of our town meeting.
Okay.
So that's moved up the week after us instead of on
Okay.
the same week.
So really then, you're looking for a continuance to our first meeting in April?
I think that would be.
What's right, what date is that? Is that the 8th? Oh, it's the, that'd be the 15th, wouldn't it?
I've got a calendar right here.
That would be the 8th.
That's correct.
Okay. Do we have anything else for that meeting on the agenda?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right, is there a motion?
I move
that the meeting is continued, the meeting for the Pappas development is moved to the first meeting in April being April 8th at 7. That'd be great.
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? It's a vote. All right.
And do you want to contact me if there's a weekend that you want to go and
Yeah,
take a
I'm-
walk on the site before that?
Sure. I mean, maybe, again, depending if nature cooperates, maybe we could go maybe that Saturday before. So that
Okay.
would be like the beginning of April. But I have your information, so I'll give you a call.
Sounds perfect.
Okay?
That
Thank you very
weekend
much.
before is Easter, just to let you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Saturday is not, so.
I didn't know if you'd be cooking.
Really?
Could be
Have
fun.
these,
Thank you.
good night.
Thank
Have
you.
a good one.
Really gonna be sleeping over him for 2 days? Sheila, I think not.
I could color Easter eggs or hide them. Going to mass. Good Catholic
Good
girl
night,
that
Sarah. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Is anyone gonna come on behalf of CSX
Whoops.
I don't
at 7:30?
know. I don't think so.
Really? Okay.
I
what-
don't know.
No,
I
thank
can't
you.
remember how I left it.
Really?
Really? Really?
Maybe so.
Perhaps.
the agenda printed out?
I do have one here, which I'm using. Did you need to see something?
We're here for 5 St. Mark.
Okay, all right.
Should we wait till the end?
It's
Well,
not,
we-
yeah. Why don't you wait until,
We are supposed to be having one at 7:30. We're waiting to see if that,
Okay.
if that happens,
We'll just-
okay? Have a seat. Have a seat if you like.
Thank you.
There you go.
on the agenda?
Yes, it is right here,
Running out
discussion.
of my discussion.
Did you
As a
see the
discussion.
agenda?
Oh, okay, thank you.
Okay.
All right,
What's
good.
that?
Sprinting out of my office.
Oh.
I'm not sure if someone's coming from CSX. They do this every year, this,
Oh, that's
Should have marked that better.
yeah.
that's me.
Oh,
Oh,
it is.
okay.
Oh,
It
I'm
happens.
sorry, okay.
Well, you have a
Good.
couple minutes anyway, so I'm glad that you did
I
come.
couldn't remember how I left it, if I had said that somebody should come or not. Okay, great.
In the past, we've had this on our agenda, and the hearing date comes up, and there's no one to present it, and so we'd like to have
Happy to be here.
connective face to a
Great.
filing, you know? But we have a couple minutes.
Sure.
Are you Steven?
Is that light on
No.
the
No,
other?
he's not
Yeah.
here, I'm
Oh.
gonna play some Dave.
So inside.
Dave, what's your last name, Dave?
Got it?
Headed?
Oh,
Okay.
a white
Yes.
and a stylus. Cool.
It's a MacGyver pen. And it has my agency on it.
Wow, fancy.
Fancy. I know. My clients are spoiled.
Does it have like a parachute? Could you jump out of a plane and would save your life?
I think if you are MacGyver, you probably could concoct something like that.
If it was a little thicker, it could have a USB flash drive in there too.
That's right.
Serious.
I'll work on that.
You could
I'll
conduct
send it a
espionage.
suggestion. I actually do have a pen that has a USB in it.
Wow, fancy.
Yeah, I know.
Incredible. It's amazing.
I know. But I don't know how you necessarily use it, but.
Mine's from
Not too
Bridgewater
complicated.
Savings. I don't know how I got that one. Somebody had it in the office. Seems like we're missing more than one person, isn't it? Is it me?
Our coat's on tonight.
Yeah.
Chuck just has such a presence.
He does, doesn't he?
what time are you showing on your phone?
7:30 exactly on
Is it?
mine.
Yep.
Me too.
All right, in that case, the next item on our agenda is a 7:30 public hearing. The applicant is CSX Transportation. It's a request for determination. Is there a motion open?
So moved.
Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. You're up.
Okay. So hi, Dave Pettit, I'm with AMEC, representing CSX.
Okay.
So as you know, CSX operates and maintains hundreds of miles of track in Massachusetts. The 4 or so miles that come through Auburn are the subject of this RDA. The vegetation management plan that CSX has been operating under for the past 5 years expired at the end of last year. So we're in the midst of preparing a new vegetation management plan for implementation this year. And preparation of that plan is under 333 CMR 11, which is rights-of-way management. And in particular, the vegetation management is going to require the application of herbicides, which calls for a vegetation management plan and a yearly operational plan. And the details and strategy for application of herbicides and the full details on vegetation management are described in both of those plans. But also in putting together the plans, it's required that we identify and assess resource areas so that we can establish restricted application zones, which we've done and which are shown on the plans that we provided to you.
Okay.
Resource areas were originally identified with GIS and been out to the field to physically confirm that. And in fact, the restricted application zones that you see in purple, yellow, and blue on the tracks are physically marked in the field based on those field assessments. So at this point, we're looking for the commission to confirm that what we're showing is accurate so that we can move ahead with the preparation of these 2 plans. And it's probably worth noting that this is just a preliminary step in the process, so this is not the last that you'll see of this. When these plans are actually produced, they'll be available for your review and comment.
Okay. In terms of the herbicide application, will there be anything differently done than what's been done in the past, to your knowledge?
To my knowledge, without having yet prepared the plans, I would say no.
Okay. I mean, generally using the same types of herbicides, right?
Generally, yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. May we assume that you are looking for a negative determination of applicability?
Yes.
Okay. That's what I thought. Is there any discussion or any questions from the board? All right. Is there any questions from the audience?
They're using herbicides?
I think so.
That's the one.
Okay. Right. Okay. There being none, is there a motion to close?
Motion to close?
I'll second.
One second. In here, I do have a question,
Go ahead.
sorry.
No, that's all right.
Are a list of what you're gonna use for herbicides in here?
Not in the RDA, but in the plans that will be provided.
Okay.
The vegetation management plan is more of the overview, the strategy. It's the yearly operational plan, which will also be available for your review, that will have specific methods and the specific herbicides right down to the safety data sheets for them.
Okay.
Okay.
Now, I know reading the materials, you're going to provide a copy to DEP's office in Worcester. Can you send us a copy too?
Yes.
All right.
Of the vegetation management plan?
Yeah.
Yeah, they usually do send
Okay.
it to us.
Okay.
It wasn't clear from
Oh.
the cover letter. All right. So if there's any discussion about the motion to close, all those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote. Mr. Pettit, thank you very much.
Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Bees.
What's that?
Rootlets are bees.
It's getting harder and harder for them these
I
days.
know.
Okay. The next item on the agenda is for discussion, 5 St. Mark Street. So, gentlemen, why don't you come on up?
like I have this.
Can you identify yourselves, please?
Rob Speroni Excavation.
Okay,
I'm Scott Kearney, I just work with Rob.
okay, very good. Okay,
I'm sure all of you know what happened over there on St. Mark.
yeah,
Anyone familiar?
I know there's a collapse,
Yep. And it happens to be adjacent to a pond.
right?
We got kind of an emergency situation here. What we'd like to do is just clean up the debris and leave the foundation at this point till the weather clears, so we can properly remove the foundation at a further date.
Mhm.
But what we like to do now is just clean the debris up that is hanging and blowing in the wind, and it's pretty big hazard over there.
What kind of debris are we talking about?
It's fabric and steel.
Okay,
No excavation of any type will be taking place. The foundation will be left in place until springtime or till the owner decides that it's the right time to remove it. At that time, we will install an erosion control barrier and come in and, at that point, we will ask you for what you'd like.
how are you removing the debris? What are you using?
An excavator, and it'll be going in 100-yard trucks.
Okay,
And basically everything is going to be pulled away from. There's not going to be any equipment along the back of the building.
Mhm.
I'm going to work from inside the foundation and pull towards me.
okay,
So there's a road that runs behind the building. I won't be out there with any type of excavation equipment.
okay. Based on your observations, did any of the debris end up in the pond?
No,
Okay,
no. The closest is about 20 feet.
all right,
And actually, that back building that you can see that kind of stems off,
Yes.
is actually still erect.
okay.
It's actually, appears to be
Intact?
sound,
Yeah,
but they're so intertwined.
mhm.
Once we start yanking on the main building, it's gonna have to come down.
Okay, so the smaller building's also within your scope of work?
Yep. This building is down, this is still up, but they want that removed also.
Okay,
And that back wall, that gable end, that back wall right before the smaller piece
uh-huh,
it's leaning pretty hard. There's a lot of pressure on it. Right now, the snow is actually holding it in place.
Huh.
So once, with this rapid melt, we get any more melting, the weight comes off of that sheathing that covers it.
right,
We're worried about the steel then moving again.
okay,
And believe it or not, because it slid down the side and piled up on the back, it's almost like a ancillary foundation, just keeping everything pinned in place. So we're trying to move as fast as we can. We got gas cut off, we got power cut off. The water is off at the curb as well.
okay.
I think Caleb's in a hurry to get that.
Well, that was gonna be my next question.
I was going
involved
to
from,
talk to him today, but then he was gone and I was gone, so.
okay, so who have you been dealing with from
The building
town?
inspector.
Yeah, Caleb.
Okay, all right. And it's your understanding that he's gonna basically just keep an eye on the work?
Yep.
Okay,
Yeah. I think everyone's,
motivated to get rid of it?
yeah,
I
the
understand.
ownership's calling us 3 times a day. Get
Okay.
the permit yet? Did you get the permit yet? Like, we're working on it.
It's interesting, given what happened, was there a close call with this about 4 years ago? Because that's the last time we had this kind of situation.
That's well beyond our knowledge.
Yeah, I wonder.
We'd be
Because if it was combined snow and ice that led to it.
what's happening is actually the ownership is actually in default. Who we're actually working with is actually the private mortgagee.
Okay.
Actually, the issues of mortgage. So they're in the middle, and they had it under agreement to be sold, but the third party that was coming in to purchase it, walked once it collapsed.
Yeah, the owner's 1 St. Mark Street Realty Trust.
It's as we know it. Well, it might be. I don't know. It's a semantic question. I'm not sure who the ownership is.
All right,
The mortgagee is Auburn Sports Club LLC.
Huh.
really?
So that's who we've been contacted by and for. So the ownership is a party that's defaulted on their mortgage and business has collapsed and they've exited stage left, as far as we know.
I understand.
Interesting.
I think that's what led to it, is they shut the heat off, and then it wasn't shedding,
It wasn't
shedding
And
properly.
then it just, that rapid succession, it just storm.
So whatever happened,
Right.
that winter we had about 4 years ago, it would have been
fine.
shedding it then because it would have been
Right.
heated and,
Right.
okay, interesting.
It probably would have needed some sort of attention given the amount of snow in a
Right,
short period of
right.
time. But someone would have been inside, like the Superdome. Remember
Right.
the Superdome?
Right, oh yeah,
5 or 6 years ago, the roof actually came
Right.
in.
yeah, it's probably the same winter, right.
Yep.
It's just with nobody really watching after it, boom.
And no heat didn't
Right.
help.
So,
It could have been, well, it could have been worse. If the gas line was still live, I wouldn't even want to speculate.
No, yeah.
It's the biggest gas main I ever seen going into the place, it's huge.
It's,
Huh.
it's 3-4 inch, and it runs the
That's a
length
huge
of it.
space.
really,
So I mean,
Yeah.
literally, if
Space,
that burst, you would have filled a balloon the size of a football field
Hydrogen. Yeah.
with gas.
Yeah,
It's basically a
gas, yeah,
hydrogen
right.
bomb.
Yeah. Oh, my goodness.
when would you
Methane,
start
yeah.
work? Immediately, like tomorrow?
Nope, we need a couple things for the bill inspector,
Okay.
one of you guys being one of them,
Mm-hmm.
the gas company.
The gas company's taken care of. We've satisfied Caleb. The water company has satisfied Caleb. We've got an email to the sewer department, but the fixtures that drain back into the sewer are all intact. They weren't damaged. There's been no potential for, seepage into the sewer of anything,
Mhm.
not that there's anything in there. And then we're just waiting for the electric company, because they check everything twice.
Right.
We've got an engineer coming out ideally tomorrow, maybe Friday morning, just to notify them that the only power line going in is the underground service that we believe is there.
All right.
And we've had Dig Safe, we call it Dig
Yep,
Safe,
Dig
they've
Safe.
come out, so we get the ground sprayed, but the utilities that are there have already been terminated.
Okay. Any other questions? All right.
Did we want to issue like an emergency cert?
We're gonna have to,
Okay.
absolutely. And I mean, there's no filing before us, so,
How about when we remove the foundation, do you want us to file then?
absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, technically you should be filing with us now, but I also recognize that, that this is an emergency situation, so, if there's a consensus of the board, we can basically give you permission to, remove the debris on an emergency basis. And then that can actually be sort of incorporated in your request for determination, when you file for the, although
We
frankly,
do have here, but I didn't have time to advertise it. He was going to file.
see, that's the problem, because,
Yeah.
again, because of the emergency situation.
Yeah.
That's why, there's nothing to vote on, because again, so, I'm just gonna survey the board. Is there a consensus? I'll ask each of you for the emergency work to proceed. Michelle,
Yes.
Dan,
Yes.
Louise,
In favor?
Tom?
Yes.
Okay, and I do too. So, and I know again, this is a very high priority for the town, so based on your presentation, you have our blessing to do that. But when you do come back on the foundation, we will need a proper filing.
Yep, okay.
Okay? All right, very good.
Great, thank you
All
very
right,
much.
thank you.
All right,
Have a
thank
good
you.
evening.
Nice to see you.
Too.
So if you would just let Caleb know, and I would even do it in the form of a letter, just say that, that we, that they came in, highlighted the emergency nature of the situation, that
And some of the
there was,
cleanup,
the board unanimously agreed that they could remove debris
though, they make it better
because of
before all the snow's gone.
the emergency
Because
situation.
on flood season,
Okay.
that's
So, but we want to still fill this out.
Well, not only that, with it the way it is,
The
more
emergency
debris could actually
cert
go
form.
into.
Do we still have to do that or not?
right. And once the
Right.
snow's gone, you're dragging it all
Right,
over
exactly.
mud,
I think so,
grass,
yes.
Yeah.
etc.
Yeah.
We have to sign
I don't think it's a big deal. It's
Yeah.
just this one page.
Yeah, I understand that, but I'm just,
Um,
procedurally,
So, work to be allowed is to
remove debris,
remove
but not the foundation.
fabric
One or two more
and
freezes,
steel
that
from
actually
the
might
site.
make it easier
Correct.
to drag
No
the stuff out of there
excavation.
while stuff's
No excavation.
Isn't that supposed to happen this weekend?
I don't know
And
if
then you
it's
should
gonna be that
also
cold, it's colder.
indicate that either
this
an
one.
RDA or notice of intent will be filed when they come back to, for foundation removal.
Winter's not
But
quite
should
done.
we suggest them not even file an RDA because they're gonna have to file an notice of
They
intent?
probably are gonna need to file a
Yeah,
notice of
it's-
intent.
Yeah,
So when we just say, you're right, that's a good point.
yeah, I was
So,
thinking of that too.
No, so-
Some time.
yeah, given the proximity of the pond, they're gonna have to.
We've been over there a couple times over the years too.
Oh, yeah.
There were issues there, so.
Mhm.
Several times, actually.
Excuse me.
I'll write in that sounds okay. There's special conditions on this one. Maybe I should put it on this page, but that's the first one I got filled out.
Okay. The next item on the agenda, under other business, is Faith Avenue. I believe you all received a proposal from the BSC Group to act as our consultant for the peer review for 50 Faith Avenue. I don't know if any of you had an opportunity to review it. But the proposal sets forth the scope of work, timetable, fees for services, and a statement of terms and conditions.
Did you inform anybody of what those fees were going to be?
I did not.
Okay.
I wanted to discuss it with the board first, but the total, I mean, the estimate given to us by Jillian Davies at BSC was $2,725. So it doesn't have to go out to bid. I mean, if you recall, the applicant has in the past paid for our consultant. So if the proposal submitted by BSC Group is acceptable to the commission, I would forward it to Mr. Simon for his review and determine if he's willing to basically pay for it.
Okay.
Is there any discussion about that? Dan? Okay. Did you read it?
Not yet, that's a,
Okay,
Yeah.
and this is what I'm talking about.
I don't know if they got that.
I didn't
Did
get
you
that.
I sent it to everyone.
Yeah, you emailed that, I
Did
read
I
it.
did.
Yeah,
Okay.
I
Okay.
have a printed
All right.
copy.
Oh, was it just by email?
I emailed
An
it.
email?
It came as an email.
Oh, did it?
Yeah.
Then I'm gonna
I have this
email.
too.
Okay,
Sorry.
Oh, yeah, you sent it to everybody.
I did.
Okay.
Did it go to our collective
No.
email?
No, I didn't think, I mean, there's,
I don't remember seeing that one, to be completely honest.
that's
with
fine. Okay. Well, I mean, would you rather postpone discussion on this until our next meeting?
Yeah, well,
you. I would, because I haven't read
Is that okay?
anything
Does it
on
give us
it.
enough time?
Sure,
Okay.
that's fine.
I would agree with that. Just 2 weeks out.
All right, then in that case, I will continue that discussion of the proposal until March 25th. Okay. Again, we're waiting on the snow to melt so we can review the request for certificate of compliance. The same is true for the detention basin at the intersection of Route 12 and 20. We've done the meeting minutes for February 25th. Regarding the notice of intent for 394 Rochdale Street. Would anyone like to take a crack at an order of conditions?
Trying to think which ones apply.
Well, there's no replication. It's buffer zone activity only. It's not within the 25-foot no-bill zone. It's within the 100-foot buffer.
Okay. So, I'd say number 1.
Okay, standard order plus.
Standard order plus.
Yep.
Number 1. Number 2. Number 3. You said no replication?
No.
Five, 6.
Oh, 6 isn't replicated, right? 29 replicated.
Oh, so we don't, so not 6? Alright, so just 5. So 1, 2, 3, 5, 8. Snow storage is not relevant,
No.
I believe. 11. 12.
Are you sure?
Well, if there's no... Does 12 apply? Because there's no replication area, but...
Correct.
And...
Prohibited from further alteration. I think the way that reads, I would say no.
And then are there any structures that would trigger 13?
Yeah.
Let's see.
No, it's no.
Okay.
I mean, 12 doesn't really apply because there is no wetland restoration or
Okay.
so. All right. So your motion is standard order plus 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, and 11. Okay.
Yes.
I have one quick question. Do
Sure.
we need to include number 10 because you did attach this MESA project review as far as habitat,
Yes. It's a good idea.
which is number 10.
Mm-hmm. And that's fine. Okay. You agree?
The only thing is, didn't he say that...
Yeah.
did he say it was
They said that they-
unclear whether there were...
He did, but I
Okay.
think we should err on the
So
side
we
of
should err on
caution.
the side of caution.
All right, so therefore, based on Tom's suggestion, it would be standard order plus 1, 2, 3, 5, 8, 10, and 11. Is there a second?
Second?
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
Okay, here we go, I'm sorry.
Well, that's all right. While you're doing that, for CSX Transportation, for the requested for determination, is there a motion?
So moved. So moved.
What are you moving for?
Make a motion, we give a negative determination
Okay.
with the stipulation that they are going to notify us and provide us information on the herbicides that are going to be used and what the final plan will be.
Okay. Is there a second?
I'll second that.
Any discussion? All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Opposed? It's a vote.
There you go.
contingent on the herbicides, right? But-
Yeah, we're
yes.
gonna have to
Okay,
look
all
at the
right,
plan.
perfect.
Them informing us as to what they're
All right,
Yeah,
I
we
using.
send
I
us
just
a
wanted to
yearly
make sure I was
plan.
hearing it. Okay, perfect. I'm not freaking out about the herbicides, but.
Dan, is it true that they're getting away from using the Roundup because they're realizing how bad? even
They
though
should
it's
be
still
getting
like one of the
away
most
from
popular
using Roundup.
herbicides on the planet right now, but they're kind of trying to phase it out.
Do you have a signature page for the order of conditions? It's coming around.
I hadn't read anything specific. I thought I'd heard something going around.
Yeah, I've been reading
Oh, there's
specifics.
some, yeah, it's awful.
But not only is it just in the Roundup, that like Home Depot
Oh, yeah.
and the seeds are actually soaked in it prior to
Yeah.
growing them. So even if
Exactly.
you're not using Roundup, if you're planting the seedlings
Right.
around those stores, you could be
Yeah,
killing the bees
exactly.
just as easily.
Unintended
It's not even
consequences.
just the bees, it's just in general.
Yeah,
It's just really
well,
bad.
I'm more
It's just
concerned
not
about our
added.
bees because honestly, without them,
Yeah, oh, yeah.
we can't pollinate anything
Right.
and grow food. So it's pretty much dependent upon them at this particular point, yeah.
Does anyone have anything else to discuss? Michelle, what was your experience at the CCC meeting?
I really enjoyed the second one, which was kind of why we're doing what we're doing, which I thought was great. The first one, she was brilliant, and she was obviously trying to dumb it down for us a little bit, and it was a little bit harder to follow. But it was excellent. I mean, I thought it was fabulous.
Good.
The way that, and I actually am probably going to. There's one at Worcester State for ponds specifically for invasive aquatic plants.
Fantastic.
So I think I'm going to be going to that one
Great.
as well. I
When
talked
is
to
that,
her
Michelle?
for a while.
All right.
That's why I'm going because of the pond.
When is that?
I'm trying to think. I have it at home. I'll email it.
Okay.
I'll
Yeah,
email it.
The other thing,
Recently, yeah.
okay.
Probably
Yeah.
talk about aquatic invasives.
Yeah.
They will. as a matter of fact.
No, they are. No, that's exactly what they're discussing, how the different boat launches have.
I used to
Yeah.
do that for work.
Oh, you did?
It seems so long ago now.
Oh, well,
I
there
don't
you
realize
go.
on one boat engine what that can do.
Right.
Oh,
Your live well,
Or how to fix
live
it.
fishing
Live well.
here.
Right. Because
It doesn't
the
matter.
pond that we live
It
on
does.
is just, like right now, it's turning literally into a swamp, like it's
Mm.
not usable.
Yeah,
So,
It's
my
serious.
sister's getting that same problem where she lives.
she is.
Yeah, the town doesn't do anything.
Well, the
since I-
town has been trying, for a few years, they actually tried to do the drain down and have the deep freeze.
Yeah.
And then, but on ours, it just doesn't work because the way that it flows, the dam keeps clogging. So they have to manually take out all of those rocks in order to actually open or close it.
Ah.
So it's not, by the time they drain it, we get heavy rains or it's, it fills back in because of the heavy rains or what have you. So we're not getting that low level that we need in order to have the deep thaw, in order to rip the weeds out and kill them and to move on. So it's not working. So
Yeah.
we have to figure out a different way to make it work.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm going to that, and I'll email it to you.
I think
So,
that's fantastic.
Yeah.
Okay, well, if no one has
I
anything
do
else.
have, are we gonna discuss the Blackstone Heritage Corridor?
Yeah, we discussed that too, because now you're doing that the materials.
I thought that I got it from you. I started reading the proposal. What was the one that you have from that Benoit that you sent to us?
Okay.
Oh, that was the Alice training,
No.
no?
Mm-mm.
I think he might have sent it to you.
Maybe he did send it directly to
Today,
me.
maybe?
Yeah,
I
it
would
was today
suggest
that I
He
got
didn't
it.
send, I
for
left
next
it.
meeting.
I wasn't even aware, I don't know what's the status as far as the town, if we're gonna be taking that land.
Mhm. Well, I mean, it's an open question, I
Mm.
think he's maybe projecting, he's thinking that if the town does acquire it, then there's an opportunity to put some trails in, which I think
Great.
it's beautiful
Yeah,
property.
exactly.
I thought
So-
that they had already decided to acquire that land.
I think, was it right of first refusal, right?
Right.
I mean, I haven't heard anything since then. I'm not aware of any, that the property's been deeded to the town. So I just don't know the answer to that.
How long do they have?
Last I heard was that they refused the offer from
I know.
Yeah. I'll send out an email, because I'm
Oh,
interested.
This
in
one?
that.
refused that offer
Matt's.
because the
Is
stipulation was.
that just an annual town meeting that's coming up?
Yeah,
We were talking about?
that's, I'm gonna say yes to that,
They
that's what
refused
we're.
that.
It's a special meeting?
Last I heard, now I don't know if there's anything else that's come since then.
Huh, connect the
Yeah,
Pappas
Does that have
Fields,
anything- okay.
61A land.
Right, that, right
Is
there.
that one
So-
of the items on the agenda, do you recall? or-
Is that up
Yeah,
the back
here.
where there
Could you
was a
put,
walking path?
that on
I
our
think
agenda
so,
for
I
the
mean,
next
he
Mark
didn't really
Road.
attach
Yes, I
too
did.
much to
Okay.
it,
Yeah.
you know what I mean? I don't think,
Okay.
I didn't see any, like,
Like a
full out
map.
plans, it was just, you know, this is what my idea is.
All my neighbors are on the town meeting now. I was for
Yeah.
a while and I just
I don't
couldn't
think
commit to
Michael-
going, so.
I just got that today, I think they brought him around.
What's on our agenda for the next meeting, do you know? Any public hearings?
Just, put
I
everything
think that
on.
path is grown in
That's
there
all right.
as the project got developed.
Right.
I think it was
I
getting
have
more
got-
traffic back when it was an open field, ironically.
Isn't that awful, I can't.
Oh,
He's supposed to come in today and didn't come in. But
Okay,
he'll be coming in tomorrow to get, I think I'm going to have 2 new hearings, but I'm gonna work them around, Pappas will stay at 7.
well, Pappas is on April 8th,
Oh, that's right, I'm sorry,
So-
okay. I guess I'm all set then.
not a problem, okay.
Thank you.
Well, is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
I'll second.
Any discussion? All in favor? Aye.
Aye.
Opposed, it's a vote.
Yes, do you always leave the
Thank you
Pappas?
very much.
No, that's fine.